From the mid-1970s through the mid-80s, David Soul was one of the most recognizable faces on American television. To millions, he was known as Detective Kenneth Hutchinson from the ABC hit buddy cop show Starsky and Hutch, where, from 1975 to 79, alongside his co-star Paul Michael Glaser, he came to represent the epitome of 70s cool. After the end of Starsky and Hutch, Soul turned in another memorable performance as writer Ben Mears in a TV miniseries that terrified my generation, the CBS Warner Brothers adaptation of Stephen King's vampire novel Salem's Lot. Soul's other notable film credits include a second-season episode of Star Trek entitled The Apple, a feature film role as corrupt Officer John Davis in the 1973 Dirty Harry film Magnum Force, and Colonel Jake Caffey in the 1982 NBC miniseries World War III, co-starring Rock Hudson, Kathy Lee Crosby, and Brian Keith. Although Soul is mostly remembered for his film and television work, music was actually his first love. As Soul said of himself, music always came first. I never set out to be an actor. Soul released several albums in the 70s and 80s. His single, Don't Give Up on Us, hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the U.S. in 1977, and was later included in VH1's list of the 100 greatest one-hit wonders. As to why he eventually went into acting, Soul remarked that it was a matter of simple financial necessity. I went into acting because I had to make a good living. I had a child now, and I had to support him any way I could. I wasn't happy, but I wasn't unhappy. I was just doing what I had to do to survive. Working in film and television was more profitable than working in music for Soul in the early years of his career, but it was still anything but easy, and the wait between acting jobs forced him to fall back on whatever was available. Recalling those times, and with reference to his Starsky and Hutch co-star Paul Michael Glaser, Soul once remarked, "Paul and I were both struggling actors. One night he would serve me in a restaurant, and the next night I would serve him. It was what out-of-work actors did." In later years, Soul battled numerous health problems, but found time to get involved in theater and other projects, as well as to travel between the U.S. and the U.K., where he attended conventions and greeted fans alongside his Starsky and Hutch co-stars Paul Michael Glaser and Antonio Fargas. Born in Chicago on August 28, 1943, David Soul passed away in London on January 4, 2024. Although he never made the Hollywood A-list, David Soul was always one of my favorite actors, and I believe a very capable and underrated performer overall. He frequently portrayed brooding, volatile characters, and there was an intensity and raw authenticity about his performances that I always found strongly compelling. Soul was a thoughtful man, never afraid to speak his mind, which he did rather often on social media, and whether I always agreed with him or not, I admired his frankness and his willingness to confront what he thought were important matters. On his career, Soul once remarked, "For me, the driving force since the beginning has always been good work, taking risks, trying new things. If the door opens, go through it. Always go forwards." With regard to working in film, television, and theater, Soul has said, "The most important thing is storytelling. It's as singular and old-fashioned as that." I agree. Thank you, David, for the years you entertained us, for making us think, and for inviting us to live life to its fullest. Rest in peace.